Alright, this is going to be a tutorial on making a vinyl sticker, cutting it out on a CNC router. I have a Chinese CNC router that I'll show you later in the video if I can figure out how to do that. It's actually one of my first videos, so I'm really bad at editing. Just the first thing to do, this is obviously Fusion 360 if you're familiar with it. The environment's kind of interesting. I actually come from a SolidWorks background. I use SolidWorks in my work quite a bit, but I've been teaching myself Fusion 360. It has a lot of benefits, I think. I really like the kind of design structure they have here. You move from a model all the way to the CAM. Having a CAM package built in is really awesome, in my opinion, which is going to make this all possible. And Fusion 360 is awesome because it's free if you're not making, I believe it's if you're making under $100,000 for your small business, which I haven't made anything yet, so I think we're in the clear. But I just did a new project you saw. First thing I want to do is change the units. I'm from America and we live by the inch. Let's see, so I'm going to do a sketch. Click create sketch. I'll just click on that plane because it seems intuitive to me that because I'm going to be carving on the bottom. And first thing I want to do is sketch a rectangle. You kind of follow what I'm doing. If you've never used Fusion 360 before, you can get quite lost. So I'll try and go slow. And I'm obviously not the best because I've been just teaching myself and learning here and there. The size of the vinyl full sticker, I'm just going to do the full, I guess you could say stock size of the vinyl sticker. You can just hit D for dimension, and it's going to be 15 inches by 12 inches. Something that's kind of neat. It's kind of common among other 3D CAD software, but you can actually type in, even when you're doing a dimension, if you had it in millimeters, you could actually type in like 500 millimeters if that's how much you knew it was, and it would convert it to the inch equivalent, which is really awesome. So you can just literally type those units in. So I'm going to hit escape just to get into the regular environment, so I'm not in dimension mode anymore. And I wanted these to be just construction lines because I'm not actually going to do anything with them. So right here, make them construction, just dotted lines so you can use them as reference. So what I'm doing is, this sticker project is a prank for my brother-in-law. Here in Utah, there's a big rivalry between Utah and BYU, and I can show you his license plate. So what I'm going to actually do is we're going to insert a canvas. So you go up here, attach canvas. So I'm going to trace off that. I'm going to put it on this plane here because that's the plane I'm looking at. So we'll go here, select the face, and select the image. Go to my downloads, check that image. Right. So you can see it's there. Now we can zoom in and position how we want it. It's going to be up like this, and then this option right here lets you drag it. You can increase the size here, and then obviously I didn't tell you, but you can use this to pivot it however you want it. So I'm just going to make that bigger here. And actually, I didn't need to make it bigger. I just realized because, oops, I hit escape. Let's do that again. Insert canvas, select the face here, select an image, do that image. For some reason it's on, let me grab it. I don't know why. Oh well, I hit OK. As you can tell, I'm very new at this. We can go into canvases. That little X out mark, I believe, means you can't select it. So if I go here, select, unselect, now I can select it. Looks like it. And then to move it or manipulate it, you hit the M button, and that gets you into a move command. And I can click. Just kidding, I guess I can't do that. I believe maybe it's edit canvas. There we go. I'm going to rotate it up, and that'll be good. So to calibrate the size, this is kind of a cool function. Normally I would just kind of do some calculations to know the exact size, but there's a fun little function. You right click here, you can do calibrate, and you can do any distance that you know. So I actually put a band-aid on there because I was able to measure it, and it happened to be 712 thou tall from here to here. So if you're new to kind of machinist language, I guess you could say, they talk that way. This number is kind of like the 100, so this is 712 thou. If that was, you had 0.1, that's 100 thou. This is 10 thou, and then this is 1 thou. And that's just kind of how they talk. When I first started working with machinists and stuff, they talked like that, and it was very foreign to me. But so this was 712. I measured with my calipers, and boom. I just put it to the size that we need, and that seems about right. License plates are kind of big, so I'm gonna edit the canvas again, move it, I don't know, right there. It's not too important because I can move the text when I'm done. And so this is actually rotated a little bit. I want to make it flat just for the words. So the sticker that I'm going to actually make is going to be this here, you no way, BYU all the way, and I'm just going to switch it and say BYU no way, U of U all the way. And I want that to be flat. Apologize that this video is going to be long, but if you're new at this, maybe it's not going to be too slow for you. So type in 2 degrees maybe. Nope. 1.5. No, it's okay. It's not perfect. Alright, now, so I don't want to select this canvas anymore. So what I'm going to do is make it not selectable. So now when I click, nothing happens. And also, you can change the opacity. I don't even know if that's how you say it right, but whatever. If I go in here, you can change how much you see it. And I don't really need it a lot, I just need it enough to trace. So I'm just going to do there. That looks good to me. So now we're going to get into sketch mode again. And first thing, I'm actually not going to do a rectangle because I can tell that this is not perfectly flat. And if I did a rectangle, it wouldn't work very well. So I'm going to actually do the spline. This isn't going to be the best tool. I'm sure there's better ways to do this, but sorry, not the spline, just the lines. Move that out of the way, let that connect, hit escape, let that be like that, and there's probably a font out there that would actually work for this. I'm going to try it, but if I don't find it, I'm going to go the long way around and sketch it all. I won't make you sit through it all, try and go through and edit it. Let's do of, because that U is kind of special to the University of Utah, so I don't know if that really is going to match font. And I don't know these fonts, so I'm going to not go that way. Ideally, if you want to save time, that's the way to go. I'm going to trace it. I'll get you up to date when I'm done. Right, sketch line. Go here. Didn't want that. Again, I know there's faster ways to do this. I'm a novice, but it gets the job done eventually. Real quick that I ran into an issue. I'm not sure why it happened because I'm pretty sure I started the sketch before I made the canvas. But when I go to edit this sketch, I've exited the sketch. I'm not done yet, but I was going to go back. But if you right click on it, you can hit edit sketch to continue where you're off. And there's just some goofy graphics going on. But for some reason, it's not highlighting my canvas because in the timeline, the canvas technically hasn't happened yet because I'm in sketch mode. So what I can do to fix that is make sure I'm exited the sketch, but I can actually drag events in the timeline and change what happens. So I'm saying I made the canvas first, and now I'm doing the sketch, and I should be able to just edit sketch. And I think I can edit it from here as well. Edit sketch, there we go. So something's goofy with the, I don't know why it's all black like that. I did do a change here without telling you. You can't quite see it, but the one below this grid, it's called grid settings. I lied, it's not that one. One more farther down, set increments. I changed it to 1 thou. I think it was at 50 thou, or 500 thou, excuse me. And that seems to clear it up. I was just having issues with it sticking there. I'll continue when I finish. Okay, so what I did was the long way to do it. I just realized that there's a font that's pretty similar. This is a kind of lame way to get around it, but you can go into another program. I went into Pages, Mac program, and this actually lets you see what the fonts look like. And I went down and I chose Princetown as a font, and then I went back to Fusion to see if that font existed, and it did. So I'm going to go here and Sketch, Text, and Font. Go down, down, down. Stop before. There we go. So we're going to do BYU, no way. And the next one will be U of U all the way. Let's see. So we'll just go with that. I prefer to just size it bigger this way if I can. Hit the M for move, and undo that. That wasn't the right move. Let's try that again. That actually looks to be pretty close. Zoom, make it smaller. That's not going to be the move command. It's going to be editing the text. So change the height, maybe 830 thou. That looks good. Make a text box, not a text box, rectangular box here. And I'm actually going to go off of this corner here, just for sizing purposes. So when I click, it's not going to be exactly in that corner necessarily. Let's just go like right there. So you can see it's off here, but all I care about is that it's the same size. That'll help me position this better. So I'm gonna move that again. Grab the triad here, and it looks like it's almost center. Maybe just a tad bit that way. This doesn't need to be perfect for what I'm doing. This is just gonna be for a prank anyway. I'll probably rip the sticker off when I'm done. Alright. So there's that. And then let's do the same thing down here. Make a box. Again, I'm going off of this corner right here. And I can see I need to go down a little bit. And then go about right there. So again, right here to here. I thought I clicked. My bad. There we go. And I'm just going to copy this text box to keep the size. So I hit copy, paste, and it came up with this. Sometimes it errors out. I don't know why. For some reason, it just doesn't copy things. Okay. So we'll change this to U of U all the way. And I'm not going to copy it exactly. I have the logo on both sides, but I don't really care. Move this, M for move. Click on the triad. I don't know why the triad's appearing way up there, but oh well, I'll live with it. There, and actually I noticed that the font down here is bigger than the font up here on the actual license plate. So we'll make this a little bit bigger, 840, maybe 860, 870. We'll just stick with that. Let's move this one more time. Drop it there. Okay, there we go. So, just to see things better, I'm going to unhighlight or undo that plate so I can just see things better. That all looks good enough to me. Alright, so now for the sake of saving space, I know that these are the right size because I used the plate there. I'm gonna position these in a more economic way when it comes to placing the stickers. I'm just gonna take advantage of my space. I'm gonna put that there. Again, I'm hitting the M, selecting it and hitting M for move. And we'll drop that there. Alright, so I'm really bad at all of that. My cam portion, I've spent a bit of time in the cam, so hopefully that goes a little smoother. New stop sketch. Everything looks good. Oh, one thing I almost forgot. This is something that took me days to figure out, of researching how to get it to trace in the cam. What you actually need to do is in the sketch, I believe it is, you go here to explode text. If you don't do this, it's not going to let you trace the text the way that you want to. So that's a pretty big deal. So you just, once you've got everything the way you want it, you need to explode the text. And that way, when you do the cam, which I'm going to go to cam mode right now, it will trace it a lot better. Alright, so first thing to do here is we need to do a setup. So we'll do a new setup here, and this will just kind of set everything up for what I'm doing. I'm going to be doing a mill, which is my router. And if you hold down Shift, I'm actually on a MacBook Pro, so I'm using the trackpad. And if you hold down Shift and 2 fingers sliding around, you can pivot like this, if you would like to, which I will for regular stock size. But this is milling. I would put the corner there, and actually the orientation is not how I want it. I'm going to do the stock real quick though, because for some reason that's easier for me to visualize when I do this. So mode, we're going to do a fixed stock size for this case, because I know what size it is, and it's not going to pick up off of these construction lines, I don't think. The width and the X is going to be 15 inches. The depth and the Y is 12 inches. And the Z height, this doesn't really matter. I'm just going to give it some thickness for the sake of visualizing it, but this is going to be really essentially a 2-dimensional cam operation. So I'm just going to make the thickness 100 thou thick. And then the position, I want this to kind of be where my dotted lines are. So you can do model position, you can offset from either side. I haven't done this a lot, so I might get it backwards, but I'll just stick something in, and if I get it wrong, then I'm wrong. Do 12, might have been, okay, that's the wrong one, it should have been 15, I believe. There we go, I think that's correct. Oh, yeah, I just realized that the stock is going in the wrong direction. So, I need to change my Z and Y. We'll call it X and Z instead, and I'll flip the angle later. Actually, maybe I should just change that instead of stock point, orientation, select the Z-axis and X-axis, Z-axis or plane. So actually I want to select X and Y. This is going to be X, this is going to be the Y-axis. There we go, that fixed it. And we look at not the front. Sorry, I get kind of tripped up sometimes. Alright, so back to the stock. So we got 15, 12 in the Y. We want to offset it from the Y by, that one should be 12. And I went the wrong way, so just simply add negative. Nope, that didn't work either. I just try stuff till it works, quite honestly. And it gets me there. I'm going to actually be milling, if you will, routing I guess is more correct, from this corner here. That's kind of my reference that I want to line up on. So, no position, nope, it's not there, just did that. Setup, stock origin, do from the stock box point, because I want this corner right. Actually, I want that point, which is not a stock point, it's a model origin. There we go. And let's make sure it's flat on the top there, and it doesn't look like it is. Not sure what the deal is there, but it's pretty important that we get that right, because I want to be milling off of the face, and it looks like it's slightly below that face. If we do front, that will actually line up. Yeah, so we're not on the top. So we'll need to go back, mess with this. You guys will just learn from my mistakes, I guess. That was a lot more difficult than I anticipated. I'm not sure if it's a glitch in the program or not, but I kept having to mess with these numbers. I knew what I wanted with the offset, and when I entered it before, for some reason it didn't work. So I ended up putting like a 0 value in here, clicking on center, and then clicking on the offset again, and for some reason it finally worked. But you can see my stock now fits exactly the profile I set up for my vinyl size. And if you look at it in the side view, it's gone at the bottom, but you can see it rests on the top of my stock. So that's just kind of the way I want to set it up. I'm sure there's probably more correct ways to do it, but it works for me. Alright, now that we've got the stock set up. Oh, one thing I also forgot to mention is I actually went back and changed my origin because it wasn't matching the stock size. So I went back to model and I went to the sketch here and I said redefine sketch plane. And when I did that, I clicked on the this plane here with the Y and the X, and that reoriented it for me. So back to the cam environment. So what we're going to do is do a trace command. That seems to work nicely from what I've used for other things. Actually, it looks like this engrave might work as well. Let's try that. I don't think I've ever actually used that before. We'll see how it works. So the tool, I have downloaded, I don't know if I downloaded it or made the tool myself, but I kind of made up a chamfer mill. Let's see, I'll just do filter. Let's just get rid of these filters because I just want all the tools. And I know I have this chamfer mill that ends up having a fine point. That's how I kind of skirted around making an engraving point. Was the corner radius was 0. I can't remember if I actually made that or if I found that tool somewhere, but it's saved there. So I pick that tool. And then we want to select the contours we want. And I actually don't want to select all of the lines because that would be a little redundant in my stickers. I'm just going to go ahead and select this one and that one. And I think that's the sticker I want. Actually, I take that back. So I'm going to clear that. I want this outside one. I think that's the one that looks better. Do that one, that one, that one, and then that one. Outside there, do that, and then that line, that line. And then we'll do this here, outside, inside. And I'll try and skip this part so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, forget this. One thing that I don't know how to do is after I select all these, have the order of which ones I want machined first. I'm sure there's a way, I just don't know how. It kind of automatically does it for you, which in some ways is kind of nice, but in other ways it makes it harder. For instance, when you want to cut this out and then this out, I would prefer it to have this cut first and this cut second, because if this cuts first and the sticker's not held on very good, cutting this can kind of cause issues because it will grab the whole sticker and pull it. I've had issues in the past with that. So, also, if you know how to do that, let me know in the comments. That would be much appreciated. I'm not going to do a tool orientation because it seems to have handled that automatically already. It's kind of cool in this. You can skip some steps and it kind of automatically figures some stuff out. For me, these clearance heights don't really make a difference. If you want to optimize like how quick it's going to cut, you can set these heights, the retracting height, to what you want, so it will do things quicker, but everything seems to work nice for me. Tolerance, I'm not exactly sure what this is referring to. Maybe it's the resolution of how it cuts, so you get more fine lines. I'm not positive. These, I just kind of leave it the same. Spindle RPM, I actually control that with the router itself, so it's not being controlled by the cam here. Surface feet, really not positive on what to do here. Let's do 50 inches a minute. That might be too fast. Something that I kind of cheat on my router. I just kind of turn down the main feed rate so I can essentially override what I put in here. Yeah, I'll just skip that. Feed per tooth. We're not actually even having an RPM in this case, so that's gonna be useless. I don't know. All these seem pretty decent. That seems pretty slow. We'll do like 20 inches per minute on the plunge. We'll come back if things are too slow. This looks good. We'll just hit OK and kind of see what it does. So up here, you got the simulate. You can simulate it out and throw in the stock. With text, it's kind of hard because to see what it's actually engraving when you leave the text there. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go back to the model, and I'm going to hide my sketch, go back to cam, and it should pick that up. Yeah, that'll show you what it's cutting, not necessarily what the sketch per se is, which it is based off of the sketch, but that's just a really good visual way if you're doing sketches to kind of see what's going to come out of it. So it actually looks like this is good. So if I do simulate, oh, one thing to note, if you just clicked here and you see your stuff and you hit simulate, it's not going to work because there's no valid toolpath. So you can actually select the setup here, or you can select this. We're going to do one more operation for the square cut, and you can either select specifically that to simulate, or you can select the whole setup and it will cam the whole thing. So we'll just do this here, hit simulate, and just watch it go. And if you hit stock here, it will kind of show you what it's cutting out. And if I uncheck the toolpath, hopefully you'll be able to see where it's scratching. Actually, you're not going to be able to see because it's cutting exactly on the surface. So technically, according to what it sees, it's not actually cutting the surface. It's going right above it. So that's a little bit not helpful for the way I set it up. So if I had set up the stock so it was slightly, the words went slightly into it, you would see it engrave it. But for me, I know that this works because I've done this tons of times. So that looks good. I'll close that. I'm going to go back to the sketch and turn it on, or viewing on. Go back to my cam, and now I'm going to do another operation. I'm going to do another engrave. And actually, something that I learned from another guy, you can actually copy this, and I believe you can just paste it. Maybe right click, copy, paste like this. There we go. So that actually copies everything you do, and what's neat about that is it uses all of your information from the other one, so you don't have to reset it. So if things are going to be the same, other than the geometry in this case, which I just exited them, deleted those, and I'm reselecting the boxes here. You can just do that, and I don't really have to worry about any other settings as long as I know the other ones are right. Just like that, right click, and go through, cut out the box. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to cut the box out of probably red material, and then cut the words out of white, I think. And so that'll be it. So there'll be two different pieces of vinyl, and I'll just overlay them. So it looks like this is ready to go. So you can watch the whole thing like I was saying earlier. Click here, simulate. Maybe I need to have it selected like that. No toolpath. There we go. I don't know why I didn't work before. But it's going to go through both of these. You can see. And then do those. Or you could just click on this one and simulate. And it's only going to do the words and not the boxes. Alright, so that's really all I need to do here. What I'll make it a habit. I don't know if it forces you to, but like I do one final simulate for each one. I'm gonna actually do these separate. So I do a simulate for the words, and I run it. Make sure everything's golden. You can select down here the timeline, or you can even speed it up here. My computer's kind of slow, so it's not really responding. There we go. So that's done. Now we're going to do a post-process. I've noticed Fusion 360 has been adding a lot of post-processes. I don't remember there being this many when I first started using this program. But I'm using this EMC generic. I actually downloaded it, I think, from a website. I googled for routers, but I think Fusion might just already have that anyway. So everything here is fine. So I'll just do OK, and then I'll save this to my memory stick, which I need to go grab. Alright, back, and we'll save this as BYU words. Stick it on here. So that's good. Save. It's going to post the code. And if you have issues, it won't do this for you, and you'll have to go back and see if there's issues. This took me forever to figure out, but I finally got it to work. And that's really all I need to do to go over to the router. I'll do the same thing here. Simulate it. Again, I'm not positive if you actually have to, but I just do it because it's good practice to make sure it's doing everything you want it to do. Because when the machine crashes, that's a big issue. It's always worth taking the time just to make sure that it's going to work for you. So that looks good. So we post-process. That looks good. And I'll call this, I'll do BYU box. Alright. Looks good. Pretty simple program. You can actually hand code things in G-code, and Square obviously doesn't take up much code because it's pretty simple. So that's saved on my flash drive. I'll bring you over to the router. Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through. I use CNC Linux for my running software to run my router here. This is a Chinese CNC 6040 bought off of eBay. Really cheap router you can get, but it does the job. So I'll run you real quick I've already set up the programming and everything for this particular router. I can show you in another video probably. So I'm just going to open the file that we made. Go to the root, media, and then you have to, for some reason, I don't know why, it doesn't see it as a machinable file, but you have to do that. So we're going to do the words first, the BYU words, and you can see it kind of shows you a little preview of what it's going to cut. Alright, and so to kind of set up the stock on the machine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, going back here, you just need to click that X here, start the machine until it's ready to take inputs. I'm going to move the jog speed up. So now if you look at the machine, I'm going to move this to roughly the center. I just need it to, so it's not going to bottom out here when it's what it thinks it's going to bottom out on. And I'm just going to call that the home. So I'm going to here on the screen, I'm going to hit on X, home that, home the Y, and then home the Z. That's where I'm going to call home. A is, I actually have a spindle that someday I'll set up, but I've got it, it makes me home everything before I even move forward. Now we need to touch off. I'm just going to move it to the top corner where I want it to go. And I know that the words are going to be slightly farther down, so I'm going to actually move the spindle a little bit farther north. So that's about the X and the Y that I want. I'm not going to set the Z, but right now I'm going to go here and touch off. Click on X, touch off X, touch off Y. And then Z, I'm going to move it to a location that I don't care about as much because I'm going to poke into it. But I'm going to move the Z down until the blade is exactly the height that I want it, which is about there. You can see it. And I'm going to touch off the Z here. So now if you look at the screen, Kind of has positioned everything where I want it. Let's sweep out everything and look at it from the top like this. So what I like to do before I machine is I actually I'm going to move this all the way around and watch on the actual part and make sure I'm not going to hit anything. So I'm just going to go like this, move around. You can see just roughly following the contour, and actually you can see right here I might be hitting into the tape. Indeed I am. So it's a good thing I did this because I don't really want to cut into the tape particularly. So I'm going to move about right there and reset my Y. Touch off. It should move stuff down. So now I'll move it down here. I can see I'm going to have clearance from the tape. So now I'm going to kind of just trace around. I know down here is good, so I'm not going to go all the way, but you can kind of get the gist. Move down here. Move across here. You can see everything seems clear to me. Looks like we're ready to start. So, play here. Hit pause, and that's going. I keep my mouse on pause. That's kind of my emergency stop. Even though there's an emergency stop here on the machine, if I hit emergency stop, it's going to kind of mess up my position. I'm quick enough on the mouse. I haven't had a hard crash yet. Knock on wood. Enter. Now the machine's going to go and automatically go where it said in the can. I'm just holding it down because I don't have any sticky spray on the bottom, which I actually want to get someday. You can see in the CNC Linux, it shows you kind of where you're at and where you're going. It's kind of neat. CNC Linux is a free program, open source, developed by in the environment of Linux. But when this is done, I'll bring you back to the next part. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention, it's really nice when you're weeding out vinyl, is to have it just kind of cut the profile out so when you're not pulling the whole vinyl out. That's something that's just kind of useful that I've tried before. So I'm going to, by hand, what's neat is I can't see the letters very well of what it cut, but I can just like look here and physically like go around and just trace it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sweep out the cuts that happen just so I can see a little better. And I'm going to, by hand, move the Z-axis down until it's a good spot where I want it. That's good. And I'm just going to just manually machine this. Okay, so let's just touch off this part here. I think this is a good spot, roughly. Let's touch off X, touch off Y, and I'm not going to touch off the Z yet, but I'm just going to follow the contour of this, like I did in the other one, just to make sure it's not going to hit anything. Actually, off camera, I had a bunch of mistakes. I won't bore you with them, but you can see that this is following the contour, and it should be able to fit everything. Now I'm just going to move the Z down to a spot that I don't mind poking, and I'm going to get the blade to the height I think is good, and then I'm going to touch out the Z, and we should be good to go. I'm going to move it away from it just in case there's issues. Hit play, and go. Again, I'm covering the pause key here with my emergency stop. I don't think that's really good practice, but I just don't want to reset the whole thing if I don't have to. You can see I can cut pretty fast. I've seen other plotters. I don't have a ton of vinyl cutting experience, but I'm sure I could go faster than this even if I wanted to. This machine can't go a ton faster though. And I'm just holding it down because I don't have that sticky spray. They have spray that you can buy where you can stick the workpiece to the surface. Kind of like sticky note stickiness, so it's not permanent, but it's kind of nice. That would be good. I've had issues with stickers peeling up on me in the middle of a cut when it's more intricate parts and they're sharp corners. It'll just grab the sticker, rip the whole thing up, and just kind of mess everything up. Alright, looks good. We'll go to the table and I'll start recording in from there. So I'm just going to cut out the two different patterns we made on the vinyl. Just gonna cut out the basic shape. Unfortunately, you can't see the lines. And on the white, I don't know if you'll be able to see it after I weed it, but you'll definitely see it when I transfer it to the red. Yeah. I'll weed the red first just because it's going to be a lot easier. Because it's simple. I'm using my Benchmade. This is a mini barrage collaboration with Warren. Just use that to peel up the stickers. And it looks like my blade didn't do that great of a job because it's kind of grabbing on the edge. Didn't cut best. Ideally, this should just peel up and you'd be ready to go, kind of like here. This cut decent. I don't know if the blade's dull or if it just didn't go deep enough. I'm not sure which it is. That was really bad. I don't think I've ever had vinyl come out this bad before. I'm guessing the blade probably wasn't deep enough as opposed to it not being sharp. If you have more experience with this, maybe you know just by looking at it, you can tell. That was really bad. Well, let's move on to the white. Maybe we'll get a clue if it was deeper. If this comes out pretty good, then I bet we can assume that the blade wasn't deep enough on that one. This one's having a hard time too. So I made a few mistakes. First of all, when I went to cut out another one by adjusting the setting on the blade actually, if you want to kind of look at it, I ordered this, I believe, from Tormac. It's a vinyl cutting blade, and it's got a spring on it. You probably can't see it, but when I push on it, it springs up. And there's a spring at the top when you take it out that you can adjust with an Allen key to adjust the tension. So what I did is I adjusted the tension to be stiffer, and that seemed to solve the issue. So kind of look out, I weeded out the words here. Probably can't see it very well here. Another stupid mistake I made, in my rush, I cut the wrong side on my second try. I cut the backing side instead of the vinyl side, so I wasted another set. So there goes 2 out of my big old sheet there. But we're finally ready to move forward. Another mistake that I made is what you want to do with vinyl is have markings to line them up if you're going to overlay them. I haven't done this much before, so I made another key mistake. I didn't put any settings, any markings to line it up, because in vinyl you have to line it up, so I'm just going to eyeball it here. Learn from your mistakes, or mine in this case. So this is just some, I forget what it's called, but it's transfer tape of some kind. And you peel off the first layer, so I'm going to peel off these layers and stick them here. Just kind of eyeball. Put that on here. Grab it down. I don't have one of those squeegees, but I've seen people use those. They seem to work really nice. And then, just need to peel off the letters. Never had that happen before either. That was the first for everything. So I'm just gonna kind of force these layers to come off. Coming off okay, I guess. Just those first ones, for some reason, were having issues. There we go. So, got those. You can finally see what they look like. And I'm just gonna eyeball this. It's gonna be not very good, but that's okay. This is for a prank anyway, so it doesn't need to be perfect. I'm just starting from this right edge and moving forward, just so I don't get any bubbles. At least that's the theory. Well, that wasn't too bad. And that's pretty much ready to go. All I need to do, I'm just going to cut these out, and in a few days when we're on location, we'll show you pictures or even video of us putting them on. And there you have it, prank accomplished.